Alright guys, pretty excited for this review. We're going to use a 4S 1300 milliamp battery for all of the testing today. It has the Sussex Mini F4 V2 on board. That's a 2020 with 35 amp ESCs running 4S, no problem. It fits a GoPro or a DJI Osmo action camera, and it has a wheelbase of around 146 millimeters squared up. It looks like a True X with big ducts. Version 2 frame has supports on here. I'm just going to show you those left and right here. Those are similar to the Squirt. The old version does not have that. Only version 2 has these struts, but it also has TPU bumpers, which I really like. You can see those on the bottom. Singular replaceable ducts is also really nice. I wish these were made of TPU. 1408 3600 kV motors, and it has a Cadex Ratel, which is one of my favorite cameras out there right now. So super awesome camera, I gotta say. Dowel prop. These are the T3045BN low profile motor nuts, which is super nice. Shedding off a little bit of weight. 500 milliwatt VTX with a Lipop 3 stubby in the back, and it has great camera protection, which is really nice for those crashes. TPU camera mounts also included with the lens guard, which is nice. It's kind of a nice touch, but there's no tilt adjustment for the GoPro mount, which hopefully next version, or maybe they'll release a version 3 with those. Pre-installed receiver and antennas in the back coming out the top. I did not use the caps on those, and it has a flexible TPU antenna mount right there. The TPU antenna mount is very good for crashes. But what's in the box, you guys? Well, there's a Cadex Ratel camera controller. You get some extra hardware, 2 straps, and an extra set of those 3-inch bullnose props, and you get the antenna caps, which I chose not to use because I wanted my antennas to stand up just a little higher than the stock setup. You'll fail safe quicker with the lower antenna setup. You also get a right turn 90-degree USB connector for connecting to Betaflight. It's kind of hard to get the cable in between the ducts. Today we're going to test out 850 milliamp battery. We're going to test out a 1000 and a 1300. My preferred weight actually with this, the longest flight time getting about 4 minutes to 5 minutes, is the 1300. So dry weight on here is around 220 grams. This is a pretty big whoop. Big whoop. Super big. And now let's test it out with the GoPro. 336, that's without the battery. It's going to get you upwards of around 500 grams with the battery. And let's test it out with the 4S 850. This is the battery of choice by Banggood and iFlight, around 320 grams without the GoPro. And with the 4S 1300, we're looking at 408 grams. And that's before the GoPro. So you're going to get it over 500 grams with the GoPro. All right, let's see how it flies line of sight. Much noisier than other quads I've flown. But this one's all about smooth video, so. Flies nice line of sight. I wouldn't say it's a freestyle demon, but it's not made for that. Here's some big rainbows. I don't see a lot of washout with the line of sight, but I did get some washout in the freestyle, which I'll show you coming up. Nice, looking good, you guys. Let's go ahead and put the GoPro on there, and we'll do a little bit of flying. See if I can bring it over to me. Give you guys a close hover. Look at it in the wind. All right, let's do some flying. Here we go. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get it up in the air. Let me show you some of the flight footage from my GoPro with Hypersmooth on board. If you have a GoPro with Hypersmooth, this is what you can expect. I was actually pleasantly surprised because the way this quad flies, it flies like its own deal. If you've ever driven multiple different style race cars or say bikes or skateboards, they all ride different. Check that out. Durability test, it came back in one piece. It did not break those PLA ducts, so I'm super happy about that. But what I was saying about different driving and riding, say surfboards, skateboards, cars, everything seems to have its own personality, and there's no exception with this quad. It has its own feel to it, and what's amazing about it is pretty loud. It's a really loud quad. You're not really going to fly this without annoying people out in a park or something like that. So if there's a lot of people around, this is probably not the quad for you. But if you can take it to remote places, and you can get a variety of different receivers on here. You can get Futaba, FreeSky, you can get probably hook up a Crossfire on this stack, which would let you get a little further out there and not worry about fail-safing as much. Look how much I can slow it down. This was what amazed me the most about this quad. For the cinematic type of stuff, people are taking this quad places that no other quads have really gone before. So at this scale with a lot of control. So there I'm trying to freestyle it, and kind of overcorrected, come back to the ground, almost flew back into the tree. But this quad is not a freestyle quad, and I like to push these quads when I get them that have ducks, and I want to see how much flutter they have, or what we call washout. And it does have some washout on the hard maneuvers, of course, because of the large ducts. It's just kind of natural with the flight controllers where they're at right now. But this is kind of cool. The ducks are on the front, and I realized I could dip down into the grass right here. Check this out. We're gonna go just fly through the grass, see how low we can get into the grass, have some fun, get a kind of a unique perspective with this type of shot. I'm gonna show you some 360 video coming up later, which looks really cool. And we're just kind of exploring out in the field right now, playing around again with that grass, trying to get super low because I have tons of control with this quad to be able to slow it down or speed it up. It has a really nice high end of the throttle. It has a great punch out. I'm going to show you that real quick, but right now what I want you to see is how it films up high as well. It films great low to the ground, and it really does a nice pan. Since you can slow it down, it's really easy to get those cinema style videos and effects. I'm gonna go up here and try a power loop around that tree, and you see that washout right there? Just a little bit of washout, but it actually did a power loop, which I'm amazed of. I've never actually flown a whoop at this scale, so I wasn't really expecting it to be able to be a super freestyle quad. I like the way it feels with that extra bit of power. And the XM Plus is getting me way out there across the field. I would say about 2.5 football fields, maybe 3 football fields before you fail safe. The reason I fail safed earlier is because I went down behind that pump house and put some solid objects between me and the XM Plus, and that will happen to you, so watch out. The XM Plus can't penetrate through solid objects very well, and that will happen with my van. If I fly behind my van, sometimes the XM Plus will drop to the ground. But I think this video footage actually looks quite amazing, and this quad is very durable as well. There's a sparrow flying up here, way up, maybe 100 feet up, just checking me out there to make sure I'm not threatening his nest down below somewhere. He's coming up to say hello. And here's that punch out. Check this out. 4S 1300, not bad power at all, not bad. And back down. And I have to say, this quad wants to fly a lot slower than most quads I've been flying lately, so I kind of had to train myself to slow down a little bit. So let's go ahead, let me strap on the 360 camera and also show you the FPV view from that super awesome VTX on here. The breakup is actually almost none. It can get pretty far out there. If you crank it up in the smart audio, you can crank that all the way up to about 500 milliwatt and do some longer range type flying. And a little black thing you see on the left of the quad right there, well, on the right hand side of the quad, zip tie. I forgot to take the zip tie off there. It's driving me crazy, but this is the 360 video, and for some reason it cut off 2 of the ducks in the back. Looks kind of strange. It doesn't look like that in real life. But you get this unique perspective, which is pretty cool. So now you're kind of seeing the characteristic of the quad from the FPV view and from the 360 view there. I can change the camera angle and show you guys the perspective from the front, the top, the back, and the sides. And that's pretty cool, but I'm pretty impressed with the VTX as well. Flying it, I didn't have any problems. And the Caddx Ratel, I gotta tell you guys, the Caddx Ratel with a 2.1mm lens, it's kind of flawless. It's an awesome camera on the super bright days or those days where it's a little bit overcast. Everything still looks super bright and green, and the colors are fully saturated. I love that shot right there. Was that like the coolest shot? Flying through the van, back in between myself. And I decided that I might try to fly through my van. I've done this before with other quads, and since I could slow this one down, yeah, oh no, okay, all right. I hit the top of the, yeah, I'm not making it out. The 3D camera hit because it's a little bit taller. But let's get back up in the air. And I have to mention, I keep thinking about the DJI Spark versus something like this, something like the iFlight MegaBee. If you already have a Spark, great. If you want to have something way more durable than the Spark, but probably about 200% more fun, get yourself a MegaBee, because I have to say that this is just has so many options. You can strap a 360 camera to it like this and get some wild perspectives. You can see the quad flying with a 360 camera. There are a bunch of them out there you can try. You can also have the option to do anything like GoPro or the DJI Osmo action camera, and you can get some super amazing footage that you normally couldn't get with something with a motorized gimbal on it, because with this quad you can get really down and in there and down and low. You can go fast or slow. You can just go places with this quad that any of the DJI quads cannot simply go. They can't do it, because if you crash it and break your gimbal, you're sending it back to DJI for repair. So this is kind of like next level cinema type of stuff here. So this video, in my opinion, is not really the most cinematic video I've ever done. I've taken you guys some places out in the mountains before in some of my previous videos that just blow this place away, but this is just kind of a first step before I put crossfire on this baby and really send it, just to show you guys what this quad is capable of. I think that it's capable of just about anything that you decide to do with it, especially if you put some crossfire on there with some longer range type flying. You can really send this quad and come back with some amazing footage, and far more interesting footage than that just simple straight ahead drone type shots that we're used to seeing. So a lot of cinematographers and people that want to do TV commercials and films and movies are now using race quads, and they're looking for a super stable platform. So this one might even be a little more, I guess, portable than something like a 7-inch quad with GPS. This is just something you can just throw up on the side of the road somewhere and fly a quick couple packs and bring home some pretty cool footage. Now also another tip, if you want to start off in stability mode, it will fly amazing in stability mode, and then you can really slow it down and get to those places that you couldn't normally get before. And right here I'm flying full acro with that tall stack on there, and I made it through the van. Sweetness. Been wanting to do that all day with it without breaking my 360 camera, because there's no protection on my lens. And I'm going to come in for a landing here. Not the best landing in my books, but it's down on the ground. There we go. So my final thoughts about the MegaBee is that the QC is pretty good. We have about a 4.5 out of 5 for the QC. I wish it had TPU ducts on here, of course, but they are replaceable, and you can also print your own. The other thing is that we don't have to build this one, unlike the Squirt. The Squirt is the super popular giant whoop, big whoop out there carrying a GoPro that's almost exactly like this one. But this one is a bind and fly. You don't have to build it. So bind it up to your radio, set up your switches, and you're off to make cinematic video. So I think it's worth the price for this one because it is quite beastie. I'm going to give it about a 4.8. which is a really high mark for durability. It came back in one piece. I crashed in the middle of the road, I crashed on the concrete, and I did not break those ducts, which surprises me. I thought I was going to come back with a broken duct and we would be game over for today, but it survived, and that bottom plate is super durable. So my overall star rating is going to be about a 4.6 out of 5 total rating for the iFlight MegaBee. But thanks again for watching my in-depth reviews, guys. I'm Justin Davis. I'll see you on the next one.